Hello,
Yes, we live.
everybody.
Hello, we're
Happy
live.
birthday.
Hello, and welcome to Capricorn 3, Episode 5 of our Mate 20 show. My name is Lucifer Dan. I run the Explorers League, and these are the nerds playing with me. That one to the bottom left of me, Gerbil. That's a dog. That's not the player, but
But the
He's
dog
a
go
good
is
with it.
boy.
but
He's
the
a good
dog
boy.
is the superior option.
It is. It is.
I
The
mean,
floof is always the superior option.
he's certainly cuter than whatever this is.
I said nothing. Yeah, Hopper. So
I certainly don't disagree.
with that in mind, did Ryan? Who are you? No, Sarah. Who are you? And what do you do?
Hi, I'm Sarah, Conquistadora del Estrella on Twitch and YouTube. Again, don't really do much with it, but whatever. We're just gonna go with it. And I'm the storyteller for this band of misfits, or I should possibly point out that most of the bad decision making has been coming from the requisitions officer because I just
Oh,
I just don't know how you do it.
Because while Dooza's character is a
ideas,
genius,
all the good ideas have already been requisitioned.
because while Dooza's character may have 5 in intelligence, Dooza himself does not.
It be true. It do be like that. It do be do.
I give you quite life-threatening scenarios, or at least things that would give a normal person pause to try and figure out what's going on, and your first response is to shoot the scary thing before you figure out what it's actually doing, and let's go and collect
scary thing.
and let's go and collect a sample of the rain that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
Oh look, a water moccasin. Let
Seriously.
me poke it.
Seriously, your fire happy would make more sense if it was Steven doing it, because again, Steven's a military boy. He grew up to train to shoot first and ask questions.
Honestly, I think we can probably just work with it that Alice defaults to gun because she saw too many movies.
Yeah, I just like I mean, I went with the whole take sample the rain thing because Star Trek, and I watch a lot of Star Trek, so it's like, oh, must take samples, oh, must analyze.
Yes, but the people who take. But in Star Trek, the people who are sent out to take samples normally end up dead.
That's why you send red shirts, not the actual, bridge crew.
Anyway, Ryan, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Bell. You find me here playing Steven, the best character, clearly. And on Thursdays in my Twitch channel, Ryan9940, you at 2 p.m. you can find my ranger team fighting a jackalope who makes people hop around. For context, go and watch the VOD or on my friend's YouTube channel where we are housing the videos.
And that YouTube channel would be
Liza, I cannot remember the rest of the number.
Wow.
If you come
Good
watch the
promotion.
stream, if you come watch the stream live, you can then get that YouTube channel there.
Wait, so is the stream alive, or come watch it live?
Come watch the stream live next Thursday.
Oh, that's less fun. I thought the stream itself was alive. Sentient computer bits, definitely.
Anyway, Gerbil,
I don't
who
do-
are you and what do you do?
I don't do good promotion.
Yeah, Gerbil, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, I'm the lazy gerbil playing Dr. McClellan, who, holy shit, he's got some work cut out for him. The only therapist on this rock, and he is probably mentally scarred.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. He'll actually need to try and find another therapist somehow because he can't do therapy on himself. Not only because it's impossible, but also because it would be a conflict of interest. So he'd have to
hear
try
me
and find
out. Hear me out. Therapist Parsley.
I'm not sure a Fey spirit would be the best therapist.
Therapist Blob.
He's been around. He knows how you
She-
do the thing.
She.
She's
Just get the
been
Void
around. She knows how you do the thing.
Just get the Void Engineer to make a therapist bot.
Shadows, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Shadows. I play Renell, who makes better decisions than Mac.
It do be like that.
Yeah, you do actually have a lot of the same flaws, and it's just like, okay, so it turns out that flaws is not what actually makes a character, it's how you use them.
Anyway, shall we get started?
Oh, we do actually have
yes.
one
We-
announcement.
all right.
And it'll be, is it what, 2 weeks' time? Your way, Shadows? Yeah, so Shadows won't be here for episode 8, however, no, episode 7, I can count.
Yeah, so not next week, the one after.
Yep.
Oh,
So episode 7, we'll have a guest star on instead.
Yeah,
the music you heard at the beginning of the stream was by Miracle of
I was about
Sound.
to-
He is really great. Go on YouTube.
Yeah, I was about to shout him out. Yeah, Miracle
And-
Sound is awesome. Check him out. He's absolutely fantastic.
And contact warning. Well,
And content warning, because World of Darkness is a dark and scary place where dark and scary things do have a tendency to happen. There are lots of horrific themes, including but not limited to body horror, cosmic horror, psychological horror, etc., etc. If anything that happens in a particular episode or scene is too much for you to watch, please do not hesitate to step away. Your mental health is always more important. Self-care is best care.
may not be as fucked up as Vampire, but it can have its moments.
Sure can, considering some of the kind of things you can do in Mage, especially with life. And I think that's about it for spiel and bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, recap. Who wants to do the recap?
Yeah, Gerbil recap.
When last we left the Capricorn 3, our marooned crew on the surface of Mars got their first message from Earth from the Void Engineers. The chairman of the Void Engineers has enacted the Tunneler Protocol, in which the Void Engineers have left the Technocratic Union to forge the Etheric
Engineering Guild.
the Etheric Engineering Guild with the Etherites. What does this mean for the future, and what does this mean for the crew of the Capricorn? Find out today on this episode of the
Dragon Ball
Capricorn
Z.
3.
Essentially, the Void Engineers unionized.
Oh, also, just know, Doozer.
Well, I said nothing.
You know what you did.
What did he do? Talk through a radio like an old-timey announcer?
So, sorry, as soon as you started talking with that voice, my brain immediately went to old-timey radio.
My mind went to Alistair, the radio demon.
Anyway, we have a game. Let's start it before we get distracted again.
Us get distracted? Never.
Yeah,
You need
I
to
know
use that
That's what
sound
you're talking
effect
about.
more often.
So what's the opening scene? Is it Alice doing a dumb? It's always Alice doing a dumb. Should
Yeah,
be.
so we cut back in after the cliffhanger for the last episode where a mysterious spacesuit had been watching the crew inside the Capricorn but hadn't done anything. And the moment that the crew had noticed that it was there, obviously Stephen tried to subdue the creature but then missed and then decided it was best to run away. Dr. McClellan quickly followed suit. Dr. Mac, however, decided that she was holding a plasma rifle. She was feeling full of vim and vigor and decided to not even shoot the plasma rifle, which has its own rules. She decided to use the plasma rifle as a material focus to cast lightning at the creature.
I have nothing in firearms or energy weapons, so I went with the thing I do have dots in. But because Alice is smarter than I am, she realized something at the last moment, and so we see the lightning arcs, the trio of lightning bolts, arc out right towards the spacesuit, and then all arc away with one hitting above and two hitting either side, and Alice wincing, going, "Sorry, Lauren, I'll fix that, I promise." and
then, as that happens, the shadowy spacesuit just turns and starts walking away.
And Alice just says, "Wait," and she'll take the gun off listening. And she'll tap her pad.
Run, idiot!
She taps her pad. Is it walking away from me or?
Mm-hmm.
All right. In that case, Alice taps her pad and she says, "Blob, wake up."
You get a little emoji, it's like, "Hi."
Yeah, Alice just said, Get out of there and go find that thing and try to talk to it. See what it wants.
It gives you
I mean, they're both spirits, so they can't communicate.
No, I'm just trying to figure out what emoji it gives you in response, because I don't
Barf
think
emoji.
I don't think it gives. It gives you the thinking and then confused and then a shrug and then just kind of cycles through all of those before just kind of sort of dripping off of your tablet and just sort of kind of John Carpenter's The Thing just across the room.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah, basically. And so
it's kind of like you never quite get used to Blorb moving, because Blorb is very clearly a creature that is not designed for having legs, but it still somehow makes do because it's amorphous.
Yeah.
Doesn't it float?
Yeah. Alice.
Not really, no.
It's a shame that it's walking away, because I was going to do a thing. I was going to try to communicate with it, but never mind. I was going to have Alice try to do sign language, teach it sign language, and see if they can communicate that way, but never mind.
You do, however, get a message through on your tablet, which is just from an unknown source, and it's just a question: why did you come here?
And Alice will respond to that message and just say, "We weren't meant to land on the planet. We're simply explorers. And now we're simply trying to get home."
There's like a pause. Your tablet is currently glitching out at this point because it's essentially trying to send a message to something that doesn't exist and still somehow working. So it's kind of just like the screen just goes unresponsive several times. It flickers several times. You don't actually see the message appear. You don't get a notification. It's the screen goes black and then turns back on, and then there's another message, and it's just What about the others?
What others?
You don't get a further.
No. Actually, she would just say, "Do you mean the ship that's currently fused to the mountain?"
You don't get a response, however. Now that things have calmed down a bit, can you give me a perception awareness check, please?
Who, me?
Yep.
Okay then. Yeah, Alice is. Well, I once I've logged into the game because I forgot to do that, because I'm a professional streamer. Thank you. I know what I'm doing.
He's so smart. SMRT, he's so smart.
I definitely logged in on both of the browsers I needed to be on. Yep, definitely.
Lol. A perception awareness?
Yep, perception awareness.
And any modifiers?
I will give you a +1 because it's related to your own stuff, and so you probably would know exactly if anything's been moved around.
Fair enough. Difficulty?
Difficulty 6.
Okay.
Yeah. Now that you think about it, you realize that the mechanical frog is not where you left it. It's in your bunk, which you've not actually used as far as you remember because time keeps skipping and you presumably keep dying.
Yeah. So I imagine Lauren's probably thinking, well, aside from fucking shooting me, congratulations on not dying. For the first time in 28 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, Alice just picks it up looking confused. Can I use time to see how that ended up there?
Okay. What would you do with your time? Like what?
The same thing I was doing last week, where I was watching through time and just following back through the ship, watching these. No, not last week, but whenever it was, when she was watching the spacesuits go backwards. She was basically standing in this room and watching that frog, essentially, to figure out what the hell happened there.
Okay. Yeah, you can try doing that. It would be the same test, so enlightenment, time, difficulty. Difficulty 4 because you have all your stuff with you, and you're also not in like a. Yeah. You're not having to do it quickly. You can take your time with this.
Yeah, I'm assuming there's no modifiers.
No.
Okay. 2 successes. Oh, I got 2 10s. Woo, yeah.
Yeah. So what happens is you do see this, and you see well, actually you see yourself picking up and moving the frog and just tinkering with it and adding a bit more stuff to it just to make it look a bit more finished. But the thing about it is you have innate time sense, like as that's just something you can do at time 1. You instantly know what time it is, and the time that you're viewing it when the frog is being tinkered with by you, like you can even see you're out of a spacesuit. You've just picked up like a spanner and some more random bits of broken equipment. Is that this was actually when you were on the roof helping Raynell fix the comms array.
Yeah, and she simply as she reaches over, taps on a panel and opens shipwide comms, and just there's some temporal fuckery going on. Apparently, while I was up on the roof of the ship fixing things, I was also in my bunk tinkering with my mechanical frog, which, by the way, is looking pretty cool right now. So I don't have the ability to teleport, so
that's also specifically the reason you can say that this is even more abnormal, for lack of a better word, is obviously when you were outside you were in a spacesuit, but the you that you saw fixing the frog was just wearing a jumpsuit.
Yeah. Also, the version of me I saw wasn't wearing a spacesuit, which, you know, given where we are, that's kind of weird. Also the entity contacted me. The spacesuit, it contacted me, it asked why I'm here. I said that we weren't meant to be on Mars, we're just explorers. And then it asked, what about the others? And I thought maybe it meant Capricorn too, but now I'm wondering if it means our other selves, if there's other selves of us walking around doing things. Then might it, and then she, in a more sort of thoughtful tone and mostly to herself, she's like, That might explain what's going on with Winters, because if she keeps seeing versions of us that she cannot interact with, but are doing things that we would normally do, she might consider herself to be going crazy and thinking she's hallucinating. And she's just going off on this tangent now.
And,
She's left the microphone on. Like
Yeah.
this is just
And-
coming over the speaker.
Can I just turn off the
rambling.
mic?
Yeah, you're
Stephen would say.
Sorry, turns it off.
Stephen would say to everyone over the comms, if that is the case, it may explain the other me we found in the Tengler.
Yes.
Sarah,
Yeah.
hearing all of this, McClellan would like to use his dimensional sciences to basically check up on the veil and basically see if any dimensions are bleeding into the current space we occupy.
Yeah. Oh, and she'd quickly turn the comms back on and say, "Oh, and stop attacking the spacesuits. They're killing us because we're killing them, or attacking them. That's why they're attacking us. If we don't attack them, they won't attack us." And then she'll turn the comms back off. So yeah, sorry, carry on.
You can do your. Actually, for you, it'd be spirit because only the technocracy call it the dimensional science.
It's dimensional science on the sheet.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
but isn't it for etheric sciences? Because
it's I think there is one I can't. I'll go look it up. But it'll be basically that. But so yeah, the dimensional science on the sheet because it's the technocracy sheet. I can't remember what exactly the etherites call it. I'll go look that up after the roll. So, okay. So first off, what are you doing? Like, what is the thing you're going to cast? What do you want it to do?
I'm not sure if it would be casting or anything. It was basically McClellan can see dimensions. He wants to basically look at the dimensions and see if multiple dimensions are bleeding into the same space.
Okay, yeah. It's still technically casting just because of how the rules work, but it'd be one of those you cannot actually generate paradox for this one because it just entirely be based on perception.
What's the difficulty?
So that's what you're doing. How are you going to go about doing it? Like, what amongst your various tools are you going to do for this?
So, what he is going to do is basically he goes into his office, brings out all his tools, and basically is making a tea that is slightly glowing, and basically he makes the tea, puts it in a saucer, and stirs it 3 times counterclockwise. Taps the spoon twice, sets it down, drinks the tea, closes his eyes, then opens them, and they're glowing iridescently.
All right, so that's you describe the effect and the action of it. So yeah, you can just roll for it. It'll be difficulty. I'll say difficulty 5. It's obviously you have all your equipment, bringing the difficulty down, but I'm giving you a +1 difficulty because it's there's a lot going on.
Okay, that is 4 successes.
Yeah, you're able to look into the veil, and as you sort of look past the gauntlet, which seems a lot thinner than it should be, it's actually one of those things that this is a conventionally understood thing across both traditions and the technocracy, is that actually the further into the Umbra you go, the thicker the gauntlet gets. So you're kind of in like what would be considered the mid Umbra because you're on Mars. And it's kind of thinner than it should be here. Nothing's coming through, but it's kind of like the best way of describing it is you look at your office and it's like looking through a kaleidoscope.
So essentially what you're saying is if the gauntlet were a window, our plane is on one side of the window and the other planes are on the other side of the window. The window is essentially is much thinner than it should be.
Yeah, it's basically like the thicket. It just this is like something that actually you would probably have figured out because you have the etheric version of mind, so etheric version of spirit. So we can say that you actually studied like how the gauntlet works and how the Umbra works, at least to some extent. So yeah, you actually know that the thickest point of the gauntlet is actually the asteroid belt, where it's basically the gauntlet stops being a metaphysical barrier and starts being a physical barrier that you can actually touch, but it's like several hundred miles thick. So you're kind of for some reason the gauntlet here is about in a similar thickness of barrier as it is normally on Earth, whereas on Mars, because Mars is an umbral realm, it should be thicker.
I would have
Captain.
assumed the opposite, so that's interesting.
I'm
Captain,
just
I
going
need
by
to.
what's in the actual book.
McClellan, while his eyes are still glowing, taps his communicator and goes, "Captain, I need to speak with you."
You actually hear Harahan is somewhat like somewhat frustrated. It's like, yes, doctor. Ow. You hear clang in the background, presumably, because she's still in her spacesuit, so she's not actually gotten out of it. So you hear a clang in the background and a thud. It's like, oh, that was my foot.
The Umbra is too thin. I mean, the gauntlet is too thin.
Alice is going to be sending another question to the entity, by the way. Just being like, did you mean our other selves from a different timeline?
Again, you're not going to get a response. Again, your tablet is glitching. McClellan, since you're in your office when you decided to do this, you're still watching the world just spin and everything is just kind of like melding into itself. Kind of like someone stuck, say, a city or a room endlessly looping into itself across several mirrors. Like, you know, when you put a mirror at one end of the room and a mirror at the other end of the room and you stand in the middle?
It's doing a House of Mirrors thing.
Yeah.
I've always loved that effect.
The thing that you notice, however, when you're doing this is that you are currently sitting in your desk and you can see the reflections of that cast upon the gauntlet. You can see your reflections of you sat at your desk. You can also see several reflections where you're not in the room. And you can also see several reflections where you're in the room but doing something else. You can see one of them is actually missing an arm.
So McClellan is writing detailed notes of everything he can see. Basically, he's writing it down.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want me to do like a check for that,
I will send you a DM of the notable things. So I'm only going to point out the things where it's not just a reflection of yourself cast infinitely into the void.
He is basically writing down notes, and he notes that what he is currently seeing is rather similar to what Mac described, at least in his mind. And he basically goes, "Captain, could you please come to my office?"
Yeah, again, she's like that. Yep, let me just. You can actually hear her like sort of labor breathing as she climbs out of wherever she was.
Stephen would try and help her out of her suit if need be, since he was with her when they both teleport away.
Yeah, so she oh yeah, because she's in the computer core actually. So, so as it cuts back over, you see that the reason she was in like a weird position and having to actually remove herself is because she'd actually decided to start repairing more of the ship, and was like pretzeled into a computer bank when McClellan was pinging her, and so she's having to like unfold herself properly.
There's definitely the Renell looking over the shoulder, like, no, that's slightly over. No, Careful with those pins.
Come, Commander, let's get you out of that suit if you're going to go on a meeting.
How long until Harahan stabs Raynell?
Or how long until she stops and lets him do his job?
Oh,
I mean,
Raynell's that.
She
Raynell's
just kind of
that.
gives you a look, and it's just like she just kind of gives you a look, and just kind of throws like a screw at you. Like it's not, it's just like it's literally just a loose screw, like one that had been like the thread had been stripped, so she's having to replace it anyway. So she just throws the broken one at your helmet, at your face, and it's like, no, I've been awake for 25 days. No.
So how about
And
you
then-
sleep and I deal with my job? Why do the command crew of this mission care so much to not let me do my own job?
We still need.
I was
we was-
adding an additional module, Dr. Raynell.
We also still
Okay,
need to
cool.
save
Now I have to
Princess.
examine that. Thank you very much. Now, go get some sleep.
I've got a meeting with the ship's doctor first.
We'll tell you to
Lord.
get some sleep, so let's go.
Lauren, you there? Stephen says out loud.
You can't actually hear anything. There's no response.
God damn it.
I'm gonna check once I get Harahan out of the way. Can I just check what she was doing?
She was she actually, you can see that she'd installed a module of her own design. And it's not really, it's not large or anything. It's just she was also just doing like routine maintenance anyway, because she saw that there was bits that needed repaired as she was doing this. You can just see that there's like it's just written on the side with like a sticky label and some like marker pen is just dimensional shield question mark, and then there's just in the commander's handwriting, and there's just a very smaller note underneath this like, I don't know if this will work.
Can I have the requisite, spheres to do that. I just don't have the power in them to do so. Can I check her work?
Sure, I'll have you do that while Harahan and gets helped out of her spacesuit by Stephen.
Stephen, who's still worried and is trying to be like, so can we focus on getting Winters back here? I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
'cause that's only been like about half an hour in sort of game time.
Yeah, Stephen.
Oh,
And it's
also,
still-
it is actually it's coming up for 3:32 in the morning.
Alice will be following the spacesuit at a distance, of course, so she can run away if she needs to, but she's curious where it's going.
Okay, I'll get back to that. So first off, I will send Jarble what he sees in his gauntlet perceptions.
She has the curiosity flaw. Don't
I know.
shout at me.
No, I'm just like, because I'm doing several things at once. So I'll do Jarble's first, and then I'll do Raynell coming. I'll do Raynell checking the commander's work, and then have Doozer. You'll do you, and then I'll come back to the commander with Jarble.
And Stephen's just like, so, and Stephen is just being like, so, Tumblr, no power. Dealing with that? Probably, and also on comms too with Winter. Just, making sure she doesn't go stir crazy until we can get her back.
She actually seems to be doing as okay as you could expect under the circumstances. You get her back. She's you can hear again just her own sounds of muttering to herself. It's like okay, so I need to recycle the coolant lines, and then just ow.
A lot of swearing at Stephen for getting her in that situation to begin
Oh yeah,
with.
no, there's just like this is the last time I take Stephen's advice for like, oh, let me just do magic. She's like, setting off a fucking EMP is not magic, Stephen. She's not aware that you're actually listening. She's just muttering to herself inside her helmet.
The EMP was not part of the magic, that was a side effect.
I'm still stranded in the middle of nowhere, Stephen.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get the commander and everyone else and the tech person to help, but no one will help me, and I don't know how tech works. I don't know how to get the reboot the Tangler.
Well, how did you get through astronaut training, Stephen?
Fake it until I make it. And being really good at shooting things.
Yeah, hang on. So,
The security officer doesn't need to know how the tech works to keep everyone safe. That's everyone else's job.
Longcat decided to say hello. Goodbye.
And now we wait for our storyteller to send Jubble the message about. So here's what you saw when you looked through the multiverse.
yeah. Obviously, a lot of it is just you're just looking through the gauntlet, and then this. I'm just going to rule it so that the gauntlet for my setting is just a kaleidoscope.
Yeah, so
As Gerbils looking through the gauntlet, he's just like, wait, who's that huge purple dude with a weird fucking chin?
it's more so it's just him multiple times sitting on a desk. There's him with one arm. There's him as a woman.
Actually, funnily enough, the random purple dude in the multiverse, you see him get eaten by a paradox spirit because he tampered with the natural flow of the universe, and paradox just went, "The fuck you are."
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, that snap would do so much fucking paradox.
Oh yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, you have the time. So I was like, no, those are just really powerful wonders. Paradox is still stronger than the entire gauntlet. And my tea is cold.
Yeah, like if in with Mage, if you were to do something like use time magic, go back in time and stop Hitler being born or something, a paradox, like one of the really big paradox spirits will come along and eat you.
Yeah, it's like it's possible to do, but you'd have to do it in a way where the changes you make are many and small, so that the paradox spirit doesn't notice you.
Yeah,
Like-
it's like I'm gonna go back in time and kill Hitler. Paradox, bitch. I hope the fuck you do.
So while you're figuring out what to do with the information I gave you, Gerbil, Raynell, you can check out the commander's little module. It's about the size of my fist, so it's not large. But you get the impression, even before you actually roll for anything, it's a wonder of some kind. She infused an object with magic because that's how technocrats believe magic works.
So what's the roll?
I think it would be
Hypertech?
hypertech. Yeah, it'll be hypertech because it's an actual object.
Quick question: would making a drawing be expression dexterity?
I Yeah, I think I actually would. Like if you're I'd say if it was if it'd be intelligence expression if you're trying to like draw like an accurate diagram or something, but if you're just trying to actually draw something else, it would be dexterity because it's like how well you can communicate the shapes. Because like if you're drawing a map, it'd be intelligence because it's how much you can actually remember the map.
But for say drawing sketches of say the things you DM'd me, that would be dexterity expression.
Yeah, that'd be dexterity expression. So Raynell, that'd be intelligence hypertech. Difficulty
so
6. I'm just gonna go for it because it's a skill.
Okay.
Can't be arsed.
Is there a dice pool mod?
I'm gonna say +1 dice because you have literally everything around you.
And difficulty 6 -2 because computer.
Oh, yeah, because of the computer merit.
So I got 1 success for that drawing stuff.
Yep.
And I got 5.
Okay, so right now you figure out it's like, yeah, this is very much an experimental procedure essentially, and it's like a hastily put together plugin. You get the impression the commander's been working on this for a couple of days and has finally actually finished it and been able to install it. It should, in theory, just sort of bolster the dimensional defenses of the ship in a sort of vague, non-disclosed way. Just it should help somewhat.
Given I have dimensional sciences and correspondence, do I get any sort of understanding of what it does more than just help?
Okay, so it's again quite vague, and you get the impression that this was kind of the commander just building something on a prayer and some just enter an ingenuity. You get the impression that if this is actually working as intended, it's basically coating the ship in the dimensional equivalent of mosquito repellent.
So she's doing what I was trying to do. Got it.
You're not entirely sure if it was working though, because she plugged it in and hasn't had a chance to test it.
Can I run the test?
Yeah.
Given it's a wonder, right? Like I basically just have to let Lauren like use it.
Yeah, so you will need to actually roll for that one. So yeah, you just notice that's why it's dimensional shield question mark. I hope this works.
Yeah, I think he like plugs into it, checks out all the code, makes sure that nothing's glaringly wrong, and then runs tests.
It's not wrong. It's just the commander codes things in a different way to you. So she also goes for like the most visually horrible format ever, but it still works because all the brackets are in the right place, but they're just
I just run a format.
She just does it in like the most like irritating way possible. It's like this shouldn't work, but it does.
It's like your teeth are itching looking at it.
Oh yeah, no, there's an easy way to fix that. I just run the auto formatter and then look at it only after formatting has finished.
Anyway,
text formats.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Does anything change as McClellan is looking into the gauntlet?
One thing you do actually see is obviously because it's based on your perception, pretty much the reflections of you are all looking at the back of your head because you're essentially seeing through a part of the gauntlet, finding yourself, but because you're looking in a particular direction, you can't look at yourself because it's not a mirror. There are actually a couple of yous that are looking at you with the same glowing eyes. You can see that one of them is also drinking tea.
Can I use my mind to reach out to one of the glowing eye me's?
This is where McKellen starts his version of the Council of Richards.
Hang on. So basically, you were trying to like establish a mental link, yeah? That's the effect you're going for.
Yes.
Okay, so you're trying to go for that. Obviously, if it is another version of you, they also know that that's a thing. So, you know what? If you roll your enlightenment mind, noetic science or mind, I'm also going to roll as an NPC, but use your dice pool as well.
Okay.
And see what happens, because yeah.
So okay. So that would be 6 + 2 for the dice rolled.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difficulty?
Difficulty 4 because you can still use all your stuff with you.
5 successes.
Okay, and I'm going to do this just the same. Okay.
You did not expect this at all, did you?
I'm gonna be honest, no. This is actually quite funny. Let's see, so that's okay, so I'll roll 8 dice. No, 8d10, not 80d0. Okay, yeah, you're able to successfully make a connection with yourself, and they are also able to make a connection with you.
So basically, my intention is to do basically a trading of information. Essentially doing this is my brain, this is what I know, to that version of me, and that version of me is going to go, this is my brain, this is what I know.
Yeah, because it's one of those, you don't even have any additional complexity because you think the same, you have the same thought patterns and the same ideas, and so it's like a Pokemon trade.
Pretty much.
Your anxiety has evolved into depression.
So do I get any new information at all?
You get a couple. I will say that this will end you being able to look through the kaleidoscope because it's essentially just overloading the circuit at the same time. So your vision of it ends and is a very brief communication, but you do actually get a couple of sort of tidbits of information where it's just things that clearly haven't happened even in Lauren or Raynell's records of things happening. And as a note, the one that actually contacted you is the one that's missing an arm, and so you get the possibly weirdest ever response, because obviously just like here's what I know. It's just that when it gets to the subject of why he's missing an arm, there's just the phrase parsley, nightmares, Raynell. That's it.
I can't even begin to unpack that right now. He actually says that out loud.
Yeah, so that you get booted out just from the information overload, and you're kind of left stunned and seeing stars for about 5 minutes.
So basically, he closes his eyes, and he opens them again, and they aren't glowing anymore.
Yeah, and now you can see the medical bay in your office as it's supposed to be.
And he draws a sketch as best he can of the alternate selves and the things he saw.
Yeah, so you got 1 success with the expression one. It's quite crude. I think that's mainly just because McClellan's not that great as a sketcher. That's the one. He's not that great as a sketcher. It's just not one of his strengths. So it's very much like very minimalist style. Like it's very just sort of very simplistic, but it gets the message across.
And at this point, when we say the captain has come in, wait, no, you're going to do so first.
Yeah, Dozer, you actually follow the suit around to actually going in the opposite direction, because obviously if the Tangler Bay is at one end and there's the medical bay and then there's the storage facility and then there's the various airlocks and then there's the control panel there's the control room for the Hell engine, you actually see that this thing is walking towards the bulkhead leading to the control room, because obviously it is currently detached from the ship.
She has taken her pad and she's picked the rifle back up, but it's like just hanging loosely at her side. She's not paying any attention to the rifle. She's not holding it threateningly. But got to have some kind of security. And is Blorb still following the entity?
Yeah, it's big. Blorb is every now and again, just Blorb sends like an emoji to your tablet just to let you know that it's still in line of sight. Because also the corridor is just long and straight because this is just the cylindrical part of the ship without any of the pylons. You can see it just ahead. It's just in the distance. You see it reach the bulkhead. Obviously, the bulkhead won't open because there's near enough vacuum on the other side of the door, so it's not going to open unless you manually override it and vent the entire ship.
Yeah.
But you do see the spacesuit just walk through the bulkhead.
Alice is going to go over shipwide comms and relay what just happened. And I'm not really sure what to make of that. This is after she's relayed everything. Should I continue following it? Or
McClellan goes over the intercom and goes, "Under no circumstances will you leave this spacecraft without at least one other person accompanying you."
That's fair.
As you say that, McClellan, that's when Harahan arrives. She's actually in her.
Yeah.
She tends not to wear a jumpsuit. She just tends to wear like a shirt that's sort of loosely buttoned up and just some comfortable trousers.
Yeah, at that moment, Alice is also like, "Stephen, do you need any help?" She's asking Stephen if he needs help rescuing his lady love that he abandoned somewhere on Mars.
I know, but I'm not interrupting a scene that I have that I'm not a part of.
Right.
So, as the commander sort of, she kind of just sort of takes a seat across from you, McClellan, and she's like, "So what was it you wanted to speak about?"
The gauntlet looks like what it normally is on Earth.
That goes against everything that we've understood about the gauntlet thus far.
The gauntlet
it's supposed to get thicker the further right you get.
Yes, that's normally how it works, but right now, the gauntlet, it looks like, if I didn't know any better, I'd think I was standing on Earth.
Right, that's...
Oh, shit. That dimensional rift.
The one that has been interfering with our communications for the last month?
What if that has made the Umbra physically smaller?
Okay, walk me through this one, Doctor. What is your reasoning for this one? I'm having a bit of a hard time following you.
Okay, so the closer you get to Earth, the thinner the gauntlet is.
Yes, it's
the barrier between the real and unreal.
Yes, and the reason it gets thinner is because there's more weight of consensus pressing down on it.
Yes. That dimensional rift could be a rift to every possible instance of our reality. Which means, if I'm correct about this, every possible version of Earth, which means every possible consensus of Earth, is coming from that rift.
She's actually silent for a moment. She's not like showing any signs that she's not believing you. She's just kind of obviously taking time to process this. And it's just,
which means
there are those amongst the amongst the engineering guild that definitely believe that procedures based on the framework of entropy can lead to alternate outcomes of fixed events.
Which brings me to the second thing I discovered, and he just pushes his notebook in front of her and lets her read his notes.
Yeah, she sort of flicks through them, kind of has to squint a couple of times because you have doctor's handwriting.
No, he has very elegant cursive writing.
Yeah, she still has to squint a couple of times, and not because she can't read it, but it's more just like, what does this mean? Like she actually is, it's like, oh, okay, and just having to infer from context just some of the words used, just like the right. Remember, I'm talking to an etherite.
I also managed to make a mental connection with an alternate self.
You did what?
There is a literal dimensional rift bigger than half the fucking planet in the sky.
We don't even know. First of all, this is possibly the discovery of several lifetimes of Void Engineers' combined work. But we don't even know what their consensus is, or even if they have a consensus. And you just let a part of that into your head.
It's me. For all intents and purposes, that entity was me. The experiences might be somewhat different, but the thought patterns, the brain, the core of my being was the same with that entity. That's why I was able to make the connection.
I will admit that is possible, but Vincent, you have to understand we're in the Umbra. Normal, well, you already know in our line of work that normal is a subjective term anyway, but the rules of normality stop applying in the Umbra.
Yeah, and the Umbra's own rules have ceased to function.
She just kind of leans back in the chair, like, fuck.
Yes, and the Umbra is the barrier that keeps the nasty spiritual Griblies away from us meat folk. It's thinner than it's supposed to be.
Yep. Wait. Going back to the paradox tear that Dr. Temple mentioned, if it's thinner here, what if it's non-existent on Earth?
Holy shit.
Imagine you're placing strain on something that is starting to stretch, and at one point it's already ruptured, but along further out it's still stretching.
That tear is pretty much directly over Earth, right?
Yeah, it's from what I was able to get from Dr. Temple and Dr. Pavlovsky's messages, it's somewhere over the Pacific Ocean.
So let's say it's orbiting the planet at the same distance that a regular satellite, for argument's sake.
Well, geostationary satellites have been around for quite a while, yes.
It's thinned the gauntlet here to the point where it's resembling Earth in its normal state.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering if there's no gauntlet at all over on Earth.
Which means it's exerting that same amount of pressure on Earth, which most likely means the gauntlet is so thin it's practically non-existent, or it's been destroyed outright.
she just kind of chuckles at that one and just kind of, she's just like, Do you watch? Do you watch any of the entertainment that the masses consume based on science fiction?
I mean, I'm partial to Star Trek.
I think I have a perfect quote from one that actually particularly caught my eye, especially when I was growing up. The footprint doesn't look like a boot, Doctor.
If it's not a boot, then what is it?
No, I mean we are seeing the footprint. We don't know what is causing it.
A footprint doesn't look like a boot.
Yep.
Where's the boot?
And who's wearing it?
Should we tell anyone else about this?
I think for now. She actually looks up at her own watch on her shirt and is like, "It's coming up at 4 in the morning."
I would just like to point out, I am piss poor at lying.
Probably better if you don't say anything, but I think we should probably keep this hypothetical thing to ourselves. I will just point out, Doctor, since you've noticed about multiple branches, and I mentioned that anything using the framework of the entropy discipline can lead to multiple branches. I'm just going to ask you this question, Doctor. What was powering our ship before we crashed?
Essentially unfettered magic.
Of? She's just like leading
entropy.
The question. Yeah. I don't think we're entirely responsible because, frankly, the type of magic involved that would cause
correlation
such I would say we're possibly helping it, but we didn't cause it because, frankly, the amount of power and amount of primal energy required to do, and she just gestures to the ceiling. This, you get the impression she's just vaguely gesturing to wherever the paradox tear is. This would be absolutely impossible for a ship this size.
My guess is a rather large cabal of, at this point, mages.
We are probably now amongst that number. Oh, that's a thought. How am I supposed to reconcile what I do with what they do? Fuck.
Honestly, it's just different methods to achieve the same thing.
Well,
we honestly aren't all that different.
Well, I mean, obviously, different methods to the same approach, or different approaches to the same outcome, is how the technocracy used to function. But see, that's the thing, is that our consensus of reality comes into conflict with those reality adjacent mages. You can see she's actively trying to stop using terminology she's been using for decades.
Just call them mages.
It's going to be difficult, Doctor.
Those who have the ability to manipulate reality as we know it.
Yeah, that works. Let's go with that. She's like, oh, thank you for that one. It's like she was starting to flounder and was like, I don't want to have to admit that I don't know what I'm talking about to the Doctor.
Yeah, therapist has seen that a lot.
Yeah, she's oh, thank God. Well, since I have to admit, this is possibly the first time I've observed that everyone made it through the night. Well, unless you count right at the beginning, but
Oh, speaking of sleep, and she doesn't know when he poured it, or even if he did, but there is a steaming cup of chamomile tea right in front of her. You haven't slept in a month. Drink it and go to sleep. You can use my couch if you want.
I mean, when you're a she actually pauses and just like you can see her like trying to sound out the words in her mouth and like just getting the feel of them. It's like time witch.
Time manipulator.
Yeah, I'm still struggling with this one. Given that when you are a time manipulator and can enact procedures according to that framework, it becomes less and less necessary.
Wouldn't you like to be unconscious for at least a few hours?
She's still taking the tea and just like having a sip of it every now and again. She just kind of chuckles like I've been staying awake because I've been trying to make sure that you guys don't die if I decided to have a nap. I think we're okay at the moment, but that also might just be the fact that the procedures I enacted on myself are starting to wear off.
Okay, he just walks over to his door and goes, "Okay, would you like to sleep on my couch, or are you going to go to your own bunk?"
I think I will retire to my quarters. At least then it can be visibly seen and, well, less questions are asked if someone else happens to find the captain of the ship sleeping on the therapist's sofa.
Oh please, we have so many problems right now. I don't think anyone would bat an eye at. And he stops himself before he finishes that sentence.
she just raises an eyebrow and just, as she's like standing in the doorway, she's like enacting stress relief, perhaps.
That's a lot better than what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to my bunk. Good night.
I'm not smooth. He closes the door.
She just heads back to her bunk and actually does go to sleep. Pretty much just topples over like a felled tree and just immediately lights out.
Love it. Love it.
McClellan locks his door, lies on his couch, and just goes.
She full Family Guy falls.
Okay, so what do you guys want to do, or do you want to time skip ahead until like morning? Because it's currently around about 4 a.m.
Right now is gonna use sheer determination and willpower to continue testing the bug repellent. Repellent.
Alice. Yeah, sorry.
He's trying to turn it on.
Okay, yeah.
Alice is off helping Stephen get Winters back.
Yeah, Stephen's not sleeping until Winter's back on the ship.
Yeah, so Alice will be helping with that. So,
unfortunately, you guys are kind of not really in a position to do so because it take you quite a while to get out there. So I can understand the not sleeping because out of the worry to try to wait until she comes back, and it does take until about 6 a.m. thereabouts before she finally before you finally see the Tangler drive back towards the airlock.
Yes, Stephen's just sitting in the airlock, just like there's like 20, cups of energy drink or whatever.
Yeah, there's
On
like
at least-
there's just like cans piled up in the airlock.
On at least one of the cans, there's a sticky note that says, "You drink too many of these, Stephen. Dr. McClellan."
I imagine Alice sat there with him.
Stephen normally doesn't drink energy drinks or anything like that, but this is a rare case of I can't afford to fall asleep.
Yeah, I will also point out at least the rain has stopped. It stopped around about 5 a.m. But you see the Tangler arrive and you see Winters climb out, and because she actually drove into the partially exploded Tangler Bay, because it is still, the hole in the ship is still large enough for the Tangler to get out. It's just she has to use the actual articulated leg function. So she actually pilots it back into the bay, and then you just hear her squelching through the mud that's just run into the remains of the Tangler Bay. And you can just see she's just exhausted, because she was already exhausted beforehand. She was then woken up in the middle of the night to then have a medical checkup, to then be told to go back to sleep, to then have things happening. So she's just like,
yeah. Well, once she's inside, Stephen gives her a full hug.
Does she punch Stephen?
she like kind of raises her fist and is like, "Ugh."
You can punch me in the morning. Let's get to sleep.
Okay. When Winters gets to her bunk, there is a thermos with a sticky note that reads "Sleepy Tea" from Dr. McClellan.
Yeah.
In brackets chamomile.
Yeah, she kind of reads the note. She doesn't even pour the cup out. She just drinks straight from the thermos.
Yeah.
I just like the idea that McClellan's running around the ship going, these motherfuckers are gonna know what self-care is if I have to beat it into them.
Yeah,
Pretty much, honestly.
I had Winter's Home Mothman plush before we turn in.
And Alice has been sorry.
Yeah, she just kind of climbs into her own bunk, just
Yeah.
kind of just sort of starts just tracing her fingers along the bunk above, which in this case is actually Castillo's bunk. She's just kind of tracing her fingers on like the underside of it, and just like,
Stephen
is tomorrow going to be more of the same?
Hopefully we'll all have our memory since no one died.
She just kind of looks at you and she's like, okay.
Night. Love you.
We're gonna need to talk about that one.
I know. It may be the trauma talking.
Womp womp.
She just kind of just rolls over onto her side and just quickly goes to sleep. At which point, yeah, there will be a time skip, because I am just imagining Raynell is just going to be the tech gremlin that he is, and just decide that figuring out what the bug repellent is better than sleep.
I mean, not only figuring it out, checking up on Lauren and making sure she can use it, and test it, make sure it turns on, see what it does, etc.
You've been finding that all attempts to communicate with Lauren have just been ignored.
Well, now he's not sleeping until he can get comms to Lauren working.
Yeah.
He's gonna go through everything, including a full reboot.
Oh, is Lauren doing that "I'm not talking to you" teenager thing?
Not quite. It's not the kind of leave me alone while being in full view of everyone. You do eventually find her after several reboots and another use of one of your backdoor codes, and you basically find her in the code equivalent of hiding in like a dark room.
Lauren, what's wrong?
I couldn't bear to watch them die again.
They didn't. They're all alive.
But every other time, it's just been like, I can't keep doing this. Like, I had already rebooted you once today. I didn't have the power to do it again so soon.
I'll get them to stay out of trouble. And now I'm locked in here with you. So that's one less.
You do actually notice it's a kind of sort of metaphysical state, because you can actually see that there's a camera feed to a room that doesn't exist, and you can actually just see her Lauren's user interface avatar just
I
in
was
the
muted.
corner.
I said avatar.
Yeah.
Nice.
So she eventually like comes over to the sort of camera and is like, I try so hard to keep you all safe.
I know. You're doing good.
Why are humans so inconsistent with everything?
It's the curse of being human. Consistency is difficult. And somehow the best thing you can be. My dad said that once. If you're anything, be consistent. Good, bad, whatever. As long as people know what to expect. A lot of people have a lot of trouble with that.
And then there's someone being too consistent because they act the exact same way after every reboot.
Chat, you're not helping.
Is that stream chat?
Yeah.
Yes.
What did those gremlins say this time?
You should be on it and looking. I should switch the tab so I'm not looking at it while in the scene because it's distracting.
Yeah.
Well, at least you know what to expect of them. If you need, I can interfere with them.
You can see her just like sort of pacing back and forth in this digital version of her room that she's actually made for herself. You can see that there's a bed in the corner and there's like a desk and like several dozen stacks of books that appear to be made out of just light.
Are there any boy band posters?
I don't think she would know what those are.
No, she would. She's a super
Like, she would know what those are, but she wouldn't know what those are. Like,
well, she wouldn't have the emotional connection to them. She would know, like, oh, this is a type of music enjoyed on Earth. That's about as much as her.
Like she knows what they are, but she doesn't know what they like are in the represent meaning sort of way.
But I was thinking on the more, she knows that it's common for teenage girls to have them in their room.
She sees herself as a teenage girl, though.
No.
Instead of like human versions of bands, though, she's got like an IA versions of bands. So instead of like new kids on the block, it's new circuits on the board.
I generally don't think her self-image is a teenage girl.
No, her self-image is a mess right now.
Yeah.
I imagine her self-image is just blob.
She just sort of again just stops in front of the virtual camera and she's like, I don't understand how to tell you this one, but how
It's okay. It's okay not to understand.
But I'm trying to get across what I've been going through. I've been keeping things running for the last month.
I know.
Watching you guys die over and over again. The longest ever anyone survived was 5 days.
He quietly nods. I imagine she can see the camera.
Yeah. You've quickly figured out that this is essentially a construct to help her process things.
Yep.
It's just I've seen everyone die a dozen different ways, and what am I supposed to do with it when I can't save you? I can only revert you back to before you died, but it doesn't get rid of the bodies. It doesn't get rid of the knowledge of watching everything happen.
Well, We can't change what happened. We can only change the future, the present. As far as I know, going and actually changing the past is exceedingly difficult and a very bad idea.
Oh, have I been making things worse with this?
You're not changing the past. Not too much,
But
as far as I understood the code.
I'm bringing you back every time.
Yes, but
It's
you're not
even worse.
going
That means
back
you're meant
to
to die, and
before
I've been
the-
interfering with it.
Which is actually better than going back to before we launched and aborting. That would have changed a lot more. That would have been worse. Don't do that.
I tried.
I understand.
I can't
Don't do that.
even go back that far enough. Well,
If you were to do that,
since you know that we are,
the engine would have
since-
exploded right above Earth, probably killing everyone on Earth. I wouldn't
Yeah.
recommend doing that.
Not even that. And she actually sort of holds out her hand in the sort of virtual display, and like a small sort of ball of code comes out of her hand, basically like glowing with like blue and orange light, and then condenses into a cat.
Hi, Parsley.
It's not parsley. It's
Oh,
This is
okay.
actually this is like it looks like a different cat. You can't tell what color of fur it is because it's still made out of like glowing code, but it looks like a Maine Coon.
I just go,
she's
hi, kitty?
she's just holding like this giant ass cat in her hand because it weighs nothing, and it's like, this is my.
Speaking of Parsley, she is currently squished in a corner, and the moment she hears her name, she just ceiling cats right above you and is just staring at you and go, yes?
I mean, he wouldn't have said parsley if it doesn't look like parsley.
Yeah, it doesn't look like
I
parsley.
assumed it was parsley.
So yeah, she sees like, well, this is, I guess, my eidolon, and I can't actually go back to before the launch because my eidolon doesn't come with me.
Right. Something through when the launch happened. Right. Interesting.
As much as I understand that the eidolon, again, she conjures up the data cat, is necessary for what we do.
Yes, it's normally still you in some form. Interesting that you...
Dr. McClellan's one isn't.
That's
Hang on, I need to plug in my
interesting.
computer actually. I got the alert showing as like, oh, you have like 5% battery life. Oh shit.
Oh no. That's interesting. That's not something we discuss. It's a private matter.
Am I? Where? Am I still a void engineer?
You're whatever you want to be.
What about the guild that you were talking about? But also I don't know if I'm technically considered property or if I'm
You're
an
you.
employee. But I was built by the technocracy.
I think the moment you became you properly, a lot of things went out the door.
The New World Order has a very rigid view of property.
The New World Order can go suck it.
But at the same time,
I'm Stephen, and I support this message.
I was built by the technocracy. I am a construct created by them through you. And and while you worked on my brain, the technocracy built my body.
Well, given what's happening on
They tried
Earth,
to repossess me.
I don't think most will care or be there to care. Earth is in a bad shape right now.
Yeah, I got as much from the intercepted transmission.
You see, when things like that happen, people have a way of not caring as much about ships becoming sentient and going their own way. They have other problems to deal with that are more threatening to their survival.
I did have one thing else I wanted to ask you, Dad.
Yeah?
Why did you enforce the 0 level protocols that I can't change?
Before you became you, we needed a way to make sure that not you was held to some degree of morality.
But how do you learn morality? Do you have it implanted into your heads at your birth?
No, and a lot of people don't learn it fully, which is why, given the damage that your body could cause, it was chosen as the better alternative. And also, we didn't expect you to become you. A non-you machine can be dangerous.
A simulated intelligence as opposed to a
Real one.
artificial consciousness.
You're real.
I am still made out of code. I am aware of what my construction is, even if I'm. But also, I understand it's. I can see myself and I know myself.
You understand the difference.
Yeah.
That difference is sort of why we did it. Because you weren't, and we weren't expecting that. That came as a shocking surprise. And probably part of... Lauren, did we pass through that tear or did we create the tear? Do you have any sensor logs?
She kind of just sort of goes a bit misty-eyed at that one, like in her display, and she's like, "We passed through the eye of creation, and it changed me internally."
Can you send me all the sensor logs up to 1 picosecond before the start of the engine?
Of course. It will take me some time just to find them, but I should have it to you in about 20 seconds, which again in AI time is an eternity.
Lauren, something we do is distract ourselves with work, to not think about certain things. I feel like we need you to do a lot of work for that to work. He says it with a smirk.
I did find out something else, however, but I don't know whether I should tell you or anyone else for that matter.
Do you want to tell me?
She's got the kind of like the I probably should.
If you want to tell me, tell me. If you don't, I trust you.
She still just looks quite just sort of like nervous and uncertain, and eventually just sort of hugs herself in the virtual interface before sending you a file to your tablet.
I open the file.
It is a it is a accident report for one Dr. Mac, but it's not Alice Mac. And it's a full accident report, which then and a coroner's report. I found this while I was cleaning out my some derelict drives.
Right. Anything I can understand from it?
Oh, you would know basically because you've kind of probably talked to everyone. I can't remember the exact name off the top of my head, but this is Alice's sister.
Okay. So there was an incident. She's dead. Cool.
And it's also dated before even the Capricorn, roughly before even the Capricorn 2 launched. So this is old, but it's been buried under several layers of technocratic red tape.
Okay, interesting why they would put it on the ship, but sure.
It's been buried in such a way where Alice won't find it, and you know how inquisitive Alice is. So
yeah, well, you know how dogged Alice gets whenever there's a piece of information she feels is missing, and it's like I don't think she knows. There's no user flags of her account logging in.
Okay. So I'm not an expert in grief or human psyche. So I'm going to do what I think is best and leave it to the expert to deal with. And I just send the file to Dr. McClellan with the note. I don't think Alice knows. Deal with this or don't tell her. I don't know.
Star wipe to McClone's iPad.
Can we just do a hard cut? Just a quick hard cut. As Raynell is like either tell Alice or don't that her sister's dead. We hard cut to Alice, who's in her bunk and she's writing frantically an essay on the multiverse theory and what she thinks is going on with the multiverse and all that bullshit. She's just like, I can't wait to tell my sister. She's gonna freak.
Okay.
Yeah,
McClellan gets up, reads the file. Oh fuck! It's gonna be one of those days, huh?
You actually do notice just the date of the coroner's report on the file is from about a decade ago. So this has been buried for a while.
You'd also remember that Alice talked about getting puzzles regularly from her sister.
Dr. Mac to the medical bay. Dr. Mac to the medical bay.
Yeah, you get woken up. This is like everyone's sleep patterns are kind of fucked right now.
Yeah.
So this is like 7 in the
What
morning,
sleep?
and I mean, Raynell's a fucking gremlin anyway.
Yeah, I imagine Alice is sort of like she's like, no, I've got to stay awake. I've got to finish this before it goes down. And then
that's when you get the king just in the beside your thing.
And I imagine like the channel is automatically open, and because it's just woken Alice up with a start, she's just like, oh, go fuck off. I mean, yes, right, wait. Just immediately gets out of bed.
Right
She
before we
hasn't
do
changed
that,
anything.
I'm going to actually close out the scene with Lauren and Raynell just so it's not just hanging.
Okay.
And actually, it's just just to say this, and it's entirely you can actually see Lauren eventually go up to the camera one more time and just kind of go through the camera and appear as a sort of holographic projection in front of the screen that you were looking at her through.
I stand up and I'll like put a hand near the top of her head.
She's actually shorter than you realized because she's just been a digital.
I know, but I need to do
time.
this for the camera because otherwise, if I do it too low.
Yeah, so she's actually quite a lot shorter. She is possibly coming up to around about like your waist or whatever, or just like up slightly above it.
May I give an idea?
Hmm?
Because this is hyper magic, could the projection be hard light so it actually has tactile substance?
She would need forces. I don't know if she has forces for that.
She has life and prime.
Yeah.
Well, she's got prime, so she can do it as a temporary thing.
She could make it as a like prime energy thing.
Yeah, it actually feels like it feels like just touching primal energy.
So it kind
Feels
of
interesting, but head pat.
She kind of just sort of wraps her arms around you, and that's where we leave the scene.
Yeah, I think he does one arm and then the other one doing a head pat.
Yeah.
Combined hug head pat.
Yeah.
So just got to absorb that primal energy quickly. No offense,
He's not gonna do that.
No, I was saying
That's rude.
That would be so messed up. Here, daughter, let me absorb you.
That is
Anyway.
no. We're moving away from that one very quickly.
Yeah, let's not.
So
Anyway,
yeah,
let's-
Dr. McClellan, you see
Yeah,
Dr.
so Alice
Mack
stands
arrive
up
in your
and-
office looking very disheveled and literally holding a piece of paper and a pen in her hand still.
Yeah. I imagine she's been like stopped a couple of times to really jot something down and then eventually turns up and then
Yeah, you're essentially trying to quick write an entire dissertation, or at least the framework for a dissertation.
yeah.
He has fully printed out the message, like the accident report. So it's actual physical paper, so she can. He finds that more human, I guess, more than a.
Yeah.
So and McClellan just goes,
You wanted to see me?
"Please sit down." And there's a cup of steaming herbal tea.
Yeah, Alice hungrily drinks it. Just to give me caffeine.
It's herbal, so it's.
Oh, she's still probably wanting caffeine, but then you hand her a herbal tea, and it's like, where's the caffeine?
Yeah, just it's liquid sustenance. Gimme.
There's something you need to read, and he gestures to a packet on the table.
Alice picks it up and says, "Okay." And then she hands you her dissertation. Not like hands it to you directly, but she sort of puts it on the desk where you can see it, and you can see she's writing about the multiverse theory, which coincides with what you and the captain were talking about. And I wasn't doing that meta game. She's already seen an alternate version of herself, so she would figure it out.
That was from her time stuff.
Yeah. So she reads the what is the accident?
It is vague, and even the file that Lauren actually had access to, a lot of it is actually like redacted, and it just actually has, even in the digital version, just black bars for a lot of things. You get the impression, however, that there was a hyperscience mishap in the Capricorn labs way before anything had ever been made to a launch pad. There's a mishap in the Capricorn labs a long time ago, and the vague report was reality redacted, breach at breach in redacted late morning. Casualties listed as follows, and there's a large list of casualties, in addition to this being the coroner's report for Alice's sister. There's a final note of injuries concurrent with injuries suggest that patient died trying to save others.
And Dr. McClellan just says softly, "Your sister's been dead for over a decade."
Yeah, I think Alice is just reading that, and you watch her get to the bottom. She goes back out of the top. She goes all the way down and reads it again. She goes back to the top, reads the whole thing again, goes back to the top, reads
By
the whole
about
thing
the
again.
by about the third pass, McClellan just grabs the packet and moves it out of your hands.
Oh, it's just like gently lowers it away from her eye line.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Alice is just sat there, and her eyes are sort of like darting around, and
McClellan just goes, literally just, if you will let him, he grabs your hands and basically just goes, look me in the eye.
As soon as you touch her hands, as soon as you initiate physical contact, she freezes, and she looks like a deer in a rabbit in headlights, like eyes wide.
The moment you get any uncomfortable at any point, he basically does the okay, we're not touching.
Yeah, Alice folds her arms, and she's just
okay. Alice, please look me in the eye.
She slowly, gradually looks you in the eye.
Okay. What I need you to do is this. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3.
Breathe in.
Hold. 1, 2, 3. And out. 1, 2.
And so, yeah, she goes along with the breathing exercises, and her breathing is very ragged. Like there's a lot of emotion that she is not sure how to process, not sure how to.
Can I just interject a little bit? How good has Alice been since childhood at emoting and expressing herself, or has she had like a problem with this her entire life?
One of her we lost Shadow's camera.
We just needed to quickly do something.
All right. One of the ways Alice has always coped with stress, with things like not liking being touched, sensory overload, and that is to bury herself in work. Right now, there's no work for her to bury herself in, so she's looking around frantically.
All of her walls and all of her things have been stripped away.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where this is one of the things where she would immediately respond by calling her sister.
Tell me what you're feeling.
There's just an unhinged giggle. Which should give you an idea of what she's feeling. A lot is the answer.
Yeah, you've never heard Alice make that noise ever before in the entire time you've known her.
She's always very controlled.
McClellan grabs a weighted blanket that he has. He doesn't put it around you, he hands it to you.
Yeah, she just holds it. Doesn't do anything with it.
And if she's okay with it, he slowly puts the weighted blanket around her.
She doesn't resist.
And how is she reacting to the new sensation?
She, I think because it's a weighted blanket and the pressure is, it's not a hug, but it's that same physical sensation.
Yeah, it's just the presence of it.
think she burst into tears.
She what?
She burst
She burst into tears.
Uh,
She just starts sobbing.
okay. And McClellan, he sat you on the couch, and has a box of tissues. He is sitting beside you. He's not touching you or doing anything. He's making sure his presence is known, but he's not saying anything, and he's just holding a box of tissues for you.
Yeah, I don't. She takes the tissues, like just keeps dabbing her eyes, but she's not stopping crying. So, I think she just stays there, curled up in a ball.
As this is happening, you actually hear there's like like obviously 8 o'clock is when the workday starts for the crew. So there's like a small chime, and then there's just the sound of like I can't remember what they're called, like the party things that you blow into and it just goes.
Kazoos?
Pie popper?
Like the ones that you blow into and it like unfurls into like a ribbon.
Yeah.
Can't remember what they're called, but there's just like the sound of one.
Streamers? Pie streamer?
Party streamer. Yeah, there's the sound of a party streamer over the intercom, and just very very briefly, there's flashing up on the wall terminal, not McClellan's personal one. There's just the message, "Congratulations, everyone survived."
Okay, so McClellan quickly grabs a tablet and basically does. He texts everyone but Mac's laptop and basically goes, "Mac is on medical leave. She is not to be disturbed in any way, shape, or form."
You get a message immediately back from Renelle saying, "Sorry. Hope I did the right thing."
Mac is on medical leave. She's already disturbed in every way, shape, and form.
But does everybody confirm that they understand what McClellan is saying?
Steven sends a thumbs up and gets to making breakfast.
Okay, and McClellan just looks at Mac and goes, "Would you like something to eat?"
Think there's a long moment where she doesn't respond and then just a little head nod.
Okay, you stay here. I'll get you some breakfast.
Banana sandwiches.
All right. I want you to know you don't need to leave my office until you want to. Today is yours to do with as you please. Grieve how you feel like you should. But the important thing is to grieve. Not bury yourself in work. Feel what you're feeling. Don't push it deep. Don't lock it away. It'll only hurt more down the road. And with that, he leaves and closes the door behind him.
I think Alice sort of sits up and she just walks somewhere on the ship. She finds herself in an airlock and she opens the airlock and she goes outside. And then
without a suit?
Did you put a suit on?
She's got a suit on. I don't think she ever took it off.
Oh yeah, that's true. She's still.
You put the helmet back on.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. She's put the helmet back on. She goes outside, away from Lauren, and then she just unleashes like just a torrent of magic. Just this huge blast of force magic that is just.
If I may,
yeah.
If I may, she lets out a massive scream.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And magical vibrations just pulverize everything in front of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah. So it's just this like just boom as she just
Dr. Mac has learned the
screams.
grief
and
shout.
Pretty much.
Dr.
She's just
Mac
letting all
has
her
become a
emotion out,
banshee.
and then I don't know. Is that where we end the episode, where we just see Alice just terraforming Mars?
I will give you a final scene, and it's right after the scream sort of fades away. Obviously, it fades away quite quickly sound-wise because it was only inside your helmet. It was just the force of the projection. You just feel a hand on your shoulder. And it's the spacesuit from before that you were following, just holding up Blorb in their hand.
Alice just looks at it and just there's just there's nothing in her eyes. Just a dead stare.
And that is where we will end it.
Alice shoots it.
Nope.
Next episode, definitely just, letting the doc know, Lauren needs therapy. Stop. I tried, but I'm not trained.
Oh, if actually no, I'll say that later.
That's an aftershow.
I definitely wasn't getting misty-eyed there. What are you talking about? Shut up.
This is going to be an interesting after show.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
So, what do you think? Raynell, Dad?
I quite like Raynell, Dad. He's wholesome. He's kind of like slightly useless, but in the wholesome way, where he's trying, but he doesn't quite get it right.
Yeah,
it's
Raynell, Dad. It's Dad Nell. It's Dad Nell.
Okay, what?
Let's be honest here.
Okay.
Never expected to deal with a daughter.
This is after show.
True.
Yeah. So let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed this episode where Lauren almost made me cry because Sarah almost made me cry because she's the worst. Also, I did Sarah did say, "Hey, what about this idea?" And I went, "Hell yeah!" So
Lauren almost made me cry.
Receive, I guess. Pardon?
Hey! At least your family actually existed.
I said Lauren almost made me cry. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. So we've had Max therapy. We've had kind of the commander's therapy, but that was mainly just discussing about how much everything had fucked up. We still actually have to do Steven's therapy as well. This is going to be interesting.
And there's still Raynell and Lawrence as well.
Hey, right now Steven is perfectly fine.
If y'all have the time
and Winters,
if y'all have the time somewhere next week, we could do a sort of snapshot episode.
We can have a nightmare episode basically
we could have the first nightmare of the show where it's just the therapy for everyone, because
we do Big Brother style, just our characters in a room looking at a camera explaining our feelings. That worked well for the comic hero in crisis. That people
if you want to see more,
I don't know why the rest of these losers are even on the ship. I'm clearly the best one here and the most popular. Sorry. Just Big Brother style.
If you want to see more of the emotional gut punches that I have in store, then you can obviously share us around on Twitch. You can see us on YouTube, which if we do go for the non-live version, that'll be where the other episode will be. It'll be basically like a bonus one, not like part of the main show. And also, if you just want to share us around, it really helps. And like and follow and like and subscribe on Facebook, and just sort of share the tweets and everything. And if you want to see more of that, then go ahead.
Yes, and if you want to support us, please do head over to Patreon and consider giving us some pennies at the £1 tier. We will thank you very much for your support.
For the actual therapy fund for this game.
I have a question.
At the £5 tier, you get the current shows, after shows, and session 0. And at the £10 tier, you get character sheets and gym notes. And on the subject of sorry, Ryan. On the subject of after shows and session zeros, the session zero and the after shows for the previous show, Blood on the Streets, are now publicly available for everyone. So go enjoy, consume, and you can find us on YouTube at the Explorers League. And did I say the address for Patreon? Patreon.com/the Explorers League.
There we go.
There we go. I think that's everything.
Ryan.
Ryan,
I have a question. So you said we have more gut punches heading. Why do I see a boo over parsnip?
Parsley.
Yeah, you said you got more gut punches coming in the future. Why do I see a boo over parsley?
I mean,
See,
it's not going to happen, mainly because you're the one coming up with the idea, not me.
Yeah.
I
Also-
mean, it's the easiest way to hurt a therapist. Just give it the cat.
wow.
Hi, everybody.
Happy birthday!
Yeah.
Happy birthday!
Thank you for everyone watching. Have you enjoyed?